clay is a four-letter word. This is Ryan Reich, and my guest today is Maia Danks. Maia, thanks for joining. I appreciate you taking your time out of your evening. I'm kind of on the night crew. I have two kids, and they're kind of what I got to do, and I joke that I'm on like house arrest. Like I'm kind of like I get to go to work and come home, and that's it. And every once in a while, I get to go out and hang out with my friends, but. So yeah. So anyways, I thought it was really cool to have you as a guest because I'm a high school ceramics teacher, and you're kind of just out of high school a couple years ago, and you kind of got
Yeah.
into it. And I kind of thought it'd be cool to have like a younger person's kind of the next generation of ceramic artists coming up, and kind of I'm a teacher, we're a student, and I think we talked on. I think we did an Instagram live like
Yeah, a while ago.
a year ago. I think it was like
Yeah,
maybe like the beginning of your senior year, and we
I
were
think
talking
so.
about AP studio art a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
you were just like kind of figuring out what you were doing. So yeah, so it's cool to kind of like reconnect like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I guess kind of the way I've been having everybody kind of do this is like, what's your story, and kind of wherever you want to start, but what's your kind of like story in your journey into getting into a life of clay.
Okay, so when I was really young in like elementary school, I've never been athletic. I've never liked sports, just not my thing. So I still needed an after school activity that wasn't like that was it was like my parents suggest sports, and I was just like, no, not doing that. So my mom thought it would be fun to put me into art classes, and there's a kids ceramic studio that's in Berkeley where I live, called Kids and Clay that has now been around for I think over 30 years. But
Oh
I
wow.
yeah, it's a older ceramic studio. Just it got bought by a new guy like 5 years ago. It was really awesome. But I've been taking classes there when I was 6 years old
Wow.
until after like through high school, like through my senior year of high school. And I started working there when I was legally allowed to at 15. Um, So, and I've been working there since then. So now that I'm in college, I work during the summer. But so like I've been working all this week
That's
for the
awesome.
months. But
So
yeah,
do you load kilns? Do you mix glazes? Do you teach classes? What do you do there?
mostly teach classes.
Cool.
Yeah, I did birthday parties in high school. Those are a lot more like hectic, like just get kids to
Oh
make
yeah.
something and then like have them paint it, and like they still make whatever they want, but it's like just kind of have everyone make something and then like birthday. So those
Yeah.
are definitely a lot more fun because it's like a full 5 days of kids, like the same kids the whole week, like making whatever they want the whole week. And I mostly help with the wheels just because that's what I like doing and I have more experience with it. Um, and so, yeah, so I mostly help with the wheels and like trimming and throwing and all the things. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I started throwing around middle school probably.
So
Uh,
like 12, 13, somewhere in
yeah,
there?
around that age. It was like like seventh grade, I think.
Okay.
Because since I was like in elementary school up until then, I'd mostly done like little kid hand built sculptures, and then felt like
Right.
I was running out of ideas. I was making really weird stuff. I'm like one of the last things I made was the Hello Kitty zombie that was like this tall. That's like on
Awesome.
my porch still. I was like a
Oh, that's
backpack.
awesome.
It's
Yeah,
really weird.
keep that old stuff from when you first started, because
Mhm.
I wish I had more stuff that I had when I first started. Like,
Yeah.
I have some my mom has stuff that I did when I was in, like, kindergarten, like a
Mhm.
little pumpkin and, like a little thing, so I joke, like, "Yeah, I started when I was, like 5, and then I had to take, like a 10-year sabbatical to kind of
Yeah, like
find my kind of
professional,
voice
you
as
would
an
find it.
artist, then I started again when I was 15."
Yeah.
But so, yeah, that's cool that you got into it when you're so young, and you've been kinda keep
Yeah.
doing it. So, that's like 12, 13 years of
Mhm.
ceramics.
Yep, just being around clay. I didn't really take it seriously until I was older, just because like I was a kid, not
Right, right, right.
expecting
Of
anything.
course, yeah.
But yeah,
So you took it in high school, right? Did you start taking
mhm.
it right away, or when you like freshman year of
I
high school, were you or
I took it. I skipped the beginning class, and then went into the advanced class my junior year of high school,
Okay.
because I already had kids in clay to do ceramics after school, like on Fridays. So I felt good about like just having that. But when I had the chance to, the high school program I was in, had like a set art thing that was like junior year. So of course, so I did that like this advanced ceramics junior year, and then AP studio art for senior year. And then now in college, I work at the ceramic studio, where I go to school, and it means I
Like
get
a
full
work
access.
study thing?
Yeah, it's
So
just
you're getting
like,
paid
hmm
to,
I
like,
get
hang out in the ceramic studio?
exactly, and like make clay and load kilns and clean the studio. And there's the Empty Bowls project is big at Carleton. They do it like once a year. We make like over 600 bowls, and so I get paid to just like throw bowls for 2 hours straight for
Aw
like all of winter term. It's great.
yeah, that's
And
awesome.
it means I get complete, like, full access for free to the studio
Do you have
whenever I want.
keys?
Not quite keys, but it's open until 11 at night. And since
Okay.
I'm probably gonna double major with a studio major, then I'll get access to this building for 24 hours a day.
Yeah. That's when I was in college, like, we had a key and we could be there, like, because 'cause they're like, "Yeah, if you're firing a kiln, like, you might need to be here, like, if you're firing a gas kiln and you don't know what the hell you're doing, or you kinda know what you're doing if you're, like, an undergrad and I don't know what I'm kinda know what I'm doing with these crappy kilns we had." Be like, "Yeah, like, you might need to be there all night," or you're just a weirdo and you just wanted to work all night, so that's cool that you're gonna double major. Now, were you always gonna double major, or were you
I wasn't planning on it. I was originally planning on doing environmental studies.
Mhm,
Um, and decided that's what I applied under to all the schools. But I decided to change that to biology because I want to do animal behavioral field work, and conservation work. So just like general animal biology,
mhm,
um, as like full time job. That's like
mhm.
my current plan. I'm sure things will change, but
Yeah, I mean
and but I realized I didn't want to do policy work because I did a couple internships in like high school and college that were policy based, and I just didn't enjoy sitting in an office, like learning, like doing lawsuits and stuff.
yeah, that
Um,
sounds awful.
yeah, no, that's
Well, my
not
wife's
what
a paralegal, so
I mean, teach their own. Like the people
yeah,
I was working with
yeah,
seemed like they were having a great time. It was just like, and it's important work too. It's just not what I want. But I decided like halfway through my freshman year, like this past year, that I want to double major with studio arts, so like visual arts in general.
mm,
Because if you do that, you get priority access to every art class, and
yeah,
it's really difficult to get into the art classes if you're not a studio major. Because there's
okay.
like 10 spots, and since it's a liberal arts school, it's a requirement to have an arts practice. So every intro art class is impossible to get into.
You said did you say 10 students?
Yeah, they're like 10. My school's 2,000 students, so yeah,
Wow.
like 10 to
That's
15
th
students.
wow, that's I mean, that's probably the best way as a from a teacher's perspective, that's probably like
Yeah.
15. I feel like 10 like, if you had I feel like 10 would almost be, like, too easy not too easy, but, like, I feel like 10 to 15 is, like, a good 15 would be, like, a sweet number, like, enough room
Yeah,
to spread out and but enough to kinda, like I don't know,
I'm really happy
that's
with
really
it.
cool that
Yeah,
you have such small class sizes, but I could see
yeah,
it being, incredibly frustrating from the student's perspective of, like, you're trying to get these classes and they're
mhm,
filled up,
yeah, and it's also there since we just registered for, like, fall term classes, like, a few months ago, all of the, like, arts practice classes, like, the intro ones, are sophomore priority classes, which means that every single sophomore is trying to get into every single, like, cool sounding art class.
right.
So, like, ceramics is the biggest one usually,
Okay.
um, just because people are like, "Ooh, clay, I get to mess with it," and it's like
Right.
the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's a lot of people haven't done ceramics. You
exactly,
need
so
to
there's
have a
like,
certain setup to do ceramics. Like,
yeah,
you can go paint
yeah,
anywhere, you can draw anywhere, you can
hmm yeah,
there's a lot of things you can do anywhere, but ceramics is something you really need to have. I mean, some people just do it on their kitchen table and they wrap it up and they transport it somewhere to fire it, but
it's hard to do, like, wheel work and things
Yeah,
like
if
that without, like
yeah, people make it work, but
mm,
yeah, it's cool to have the setup in place.
yeah,
That's really cool to hear that you're a double majoring and you're kind
mhm,
of continuing the art thing. Because
yeah,
I think I don't know if I read it or you were on the were you on the Potters Cast?
no,
I didn't I remember I heard you or you were maybe you were live with somebody or I remember I heard you
something,
say that you weren't gonna be like an art major going into college. I remember
yeah,
hearing you say that, like, "Oh, I'm gonna be an environmental." I knew there was something that wasn't
yeah,
gonna be an art, and I was like, "Oh, like, she seems like so into it," you
yeah,
know?
no, I'm definitely I mean
But I'm happy for you that it didn't take too long for you to kinda, like, circle back around and be like, "Oh,
yeah,
yeah, like, I need art, like, it's
mhm,
important who I
yeah.
am," and
No, I think even if I didn't major in it, I definitely wouldn't stop doing it. Like I have my wheel already, so like I'm able to continue that in my home. But
yeah,
it's
but I think one of the benefits of, like, going through the route that you're going now as, like, an art major, it will f I don't know how familiar you are with other art mediums and practices, but by being an art major, it forces you to, like, take a bunch
yeah,
of art classes that are kind of out of your comfort zone.
mhm,
It's in the grand scheme of it as an artist, like,
yeah,
when you come back doing ceramics primarily, all those little experiences you had, like, really make you a better artist. Like, I know when I went to college, I was like, "Yeah, I just wanna do ceramics," and then it was like, "No, you gotta do, like, 2D design and 3D
yep,
design."
yeah,
Figure drawing, that was the worst. Figure I sucked so bad at figure drawing because it
I
was
do
just
too.
like, I
Mhm,
wasn't good at drawing and, like, you just sit there and, like, draw the, like, naked people, and it was like wasn't, like, uncomfortable, but I felt like I was so bad at it, and I didn't put the work in, like,
mhm,
filling the sketchbook up,
yep,
that it was like that was the only art class, like, a studio art class I didn't get an A in all my college life. It was like, "Oh, fucking
mhm,
figure art." Now it's like, I teach figurative work, and it's like, I wish I spent more paid more attention in figure drawing and kinda learned that stuff, so
yeah,
and, like, art history is really cool, you learn about
mhm,
paint I guess from my education in high school, like, my I imagine my education as a high school ceramics student was so completely different than your experience as a high school ceramics student, because I went to high school from 1992 to 1996. So that
mhm,
was, like, totally before the internet, and, like,
yeah,
my teacher was, like, an okay ceramic like, a go okay potter, but, like, our teacher was like Ceramics Monthly. Like, Ceramics Monthly was like my teacher because it was like, I wanna do new forms or new shapes or new textures or new things as a high
right,
school kid, and it was like, "Oh, like, my teacher's just got, like, his demo pieces," and he didn't do, like, slide presentations. He was just like, "Yeah, we're making bowls. Yeah, we're making this. Here's some wax resist." So, it's so cool that you got to have this, like growing up, like, with Instagram
yeah,
and media and, like, this community that's so much more, like, vibrant now than it was when I was there. I'm so jealous of you, like, having
yeah,
I mean, it's so cool you're getting this now, like, you're getting this cool foundation of, like, all these cool experiences, and I see when you post on your, kinda go to another question, like, I notice you go to a lot of, like, workshops.
mhm,
That seems to be
yeah.
something that's kinda like, "Oh, someone's in town," like,
Yeah, I mean, if it's right across the bay, I mean, I may as well. Like, if it and it's free to go see their demos, so it's always nice to like Clay by the Bay has so many people coming through that like
you know, it's
it's
amazing.
like an hour, hour and a half to get there, like each way. But once I'm there, like my mom likes art too. She'll usually come with me and like we can go see. But
So whose workshops have you been to
I
over
took
there at Play by Play?
I only took one workshop. I took Mark Arnold's workshop.
Okay.
Um,
Or, like, which demos
because
have you been to and seen over there?
Oh,
Like, which
I've been
artists?
to, Katie Marks, um, Eric
Another
Landon,
Seattle artist?
yeah, another Seattle artist, Tortoise, the Tim Ceramics, and,
What did you
like,
say? You said, another Seattle artist, and did you say
Eric
Tortoise?
Landon, Tortoise, who
Oh, so
it was before the whole thing, and it was not a good experience to begin with.
oh!
Yeah, it was
So, okay, I mean, I don't know the
yeah.
guy. He's never gonna be on this. He's never gonna listen to this. What was it like? What was your experience with it? I had no idea you did that one, but let's talk about it. Just tell me,
he
like, your experience, like, what was your impression of him?
I did not like him. I had a really it was a weird guy. Like he just it was like you'd think if he's done that many workshops, like he'd be like good at like talking to people and getting things across. But like he was doing a poll and someone started asking him a question and he like snapped at them, was like, you can't ask me questions while I'm doing a poll. And like they were like, oh sorry, okay. And like
Yeah.
it was just like, whoa, okay. Like
Yeah, that was
oh
quite that was quite some drama in the ceramics world, and
yeah,
rightfully so, and I don't think he cares,
definitely.
but
No, he
it
definitely he covered that up so fast. Like as
yeah,
I
I'm sure it was, like,
learned
hot
so
for,
much.
like, a month, maybe 2,
Mhm.
3, 4 weeks. It was kinda like a thing, and it was like it felt
Yeah,
like I was
he
back
lost
on
like
Facebook,
mhm,
debating about politics. It was like
mhm. Yeah,
but I don't
I
think
think
it I don't think it really affected him that much. Like, I don't follow him anymore, and I don't really check out his every once in a while, he'll come up in my explore page, or he'll be
yeah,
one of he gets reposted a lot by a lot of, conglomerate whatever, so every once in a while, I'll see his stuff. I'm like, "Yeah, he's still making stuff. He's doing the same stuff, kinda is
mhm,
what it is, but hey."
yeah. I think he's like at least lost like the major other like ceramic artists on Instagram. Like
Yeah, I think in the
like
hardcore ceramics, I don't know, I like to think of our little Instagram ceramics community as, like, that's the ceramics community that I'm a part of now, and I know there's a bigger ceramics community, and there's a lot of really important ceramic artists that don't participate in social
yeah.
media because 'cause they're just like, "Whatever." I'm like,
Yep.
"I'm in the Smithsonian, I'm in LACMA, I'm in the Getty," like, I or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but I know in our little ceramics community, yeah, like, he'll never, I feel like, be accepted as part of
Mm,
it, unless he really comes in, hat in his hand, like, groveling, like, "I'm so sorry, and I'm sorry I'm such a
yeah.
piece of shit, and I'm sorry I'm such an asshole," and, like, apologize to all these people he's apparently screwed over financially, and
Yeah.
but, I mean, it's not who he is, and
Yeah.
that's fine. So,
I think he's
fuck him, good for
yep,
him. Good luck.
exactly.
Good luck.
Yep. Yeah, he's
See you
not
on your end.
exactly.
I ain't going to your shop. So you said
Yeah.
Katie Marks and Mark Arnold and Tortoise and who
And like Tim Ceramics and Mitchell Spain
oh,
and
you went
Brett
to the one a
Kern.
couple weeks ago, right? Or a month or
Yeah.
so?
They all came together,
Yeah.
did their Mofos show, like Mofos demo and workshop thing. Um,
How much fun
and
was that?
it was really fun. They're all super nice. I'd met Brett and Tim at Ensika, um, in Minneapolis because it's like Minneapolis is like 45 minutes north of my
Well,
school, and it was at the end of my spring break, so I was able to go and stay with my friend that also goes to Carleton with me, and we just went to Ensika together, and it's great.
oh, and
Uh,
you didn't have to miss any school.
it
Oh,
was like
perfect.
the last like weekend or like whatever Thursday through Saturday before
Yeah,
school started. It was
that's
like
awesome.
perfect. Yeah, it was so fun. But yeah, so I met them like at Ensika and like talked to a couple of them at like over Instagram and stuff. But it was really fun to see their demos in person again and like see really how they like assemble everything. Even though I don't do like the slip casting stuff that Mitchell Spain and Brett Kern do, but still super cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all those things are it's funny, like, sometimes you'll see things and you don't know, like, down the line, you might have an idea and you're like, "Oh, maybe I"
Mhm.
you saw something at a workshop. I mean, it's cool you're going to all these workshops because these are really cool artists that really have different processes and different styles and different kinda, you
Yeah.
know, it's when you see these professional artists working in, like, that setting, a
Mhm.
little more it's structured, but it's a little more casual in the sense that they're not rushing, they're not like it's not like a video where it's like every step is super, like, edited. It's kinda like, this is how I'm naturally kinda working and talking through the process. If you're
Yeah.
I have a hard time sometimes being patient enough because 'cause I'm kinda like ADD, so sometimes it's like, I can only sit for so long. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I can only sit quietly for so long, and I start to get antsy. So,
Yeah.
if it's the workshop or something where I can kinda stand up and walk around and move around a little and kinda
Mhm.
yeah. But I haven't been in any workshops in a while, but I think it's kind of I know I have a couple other ceramics teacher friends that kinda listen to this podcast and are kind of like, a part of the ceramics community, and I'm sure you know a couple of them or are familiar with a couple of them. And I don't know, from, like, the high schools, like, now that you kinda graduated and you're out of the high school, like, what can you tell the ceramics high school teachers when we have students like you that are really into it? Because I get a couple students every year that are just like, "This is like, I'm serious, and I'm like, I wanna do this, and I wanna really be a part of it," or, like, doing the AP.
Mhm.
Like, looking back, like, what is something that you could tell the ceramics teachers that's kind of like, how could we help our AP students or our really motivated students, like, and you're only speaking for yourself, but, like, do you have any advice
Yeah.
for us? Teach
So,
the teach.
um, I don't know. I had a weird relationship with my high school teacher
Oh, good.
because
That's actually a good thing. I like that.
it was,
Doesn't all
I
it's
don't
not
know.
shits and giggles.
Yeah, she was odd. She had her very specific way of doing things, and I knew enough and know enough to like be able to know if what she's doing isn't necessarily the like most efficient or like really most realistic way of doing something, or like if I know something I'm doing is going to work and she tells me it won't, like I can call her on her bullshit with that. And she didn't like that. Or I think a large part of it also was the teacher that now the person that owns Kids and Clay now has been my teacher. Like he taught me how to throw. He has taught
Right.
me everything I know. He's been my teacher for my whole life. And so I've never really accepted that my high school teacher was like really there to teach me that much, because
Mhm.
she just never, like the level that she was teaching just wasn't for like the larger class, which like makes sense. Like that's,
Yeah,
if it
yeah, yeah.
benefits the majority and I can do things on my own, that's totally fine. But it meant that I wasn't looking to her for instructions. And I was just kind of like, she was like a kiln person. Like she fired my stuff, and like
Yeah.
even that sometimes went wrong. And so it was just like,
Were you doing gas or electric?
it was gas, because like she didn't explain what vitrification was, so people would be firing mugs that were high fire clay because there's only high fire clay in mid fire that was
Mm.
like electric, um, and she just never explained it. So I fired exclusively gas, but she over reduced everything too. So like I
Oh,
had a couple firings where like I had the mug and like I'd pour hot water in it, and every single mug in that firing would crack as soon as I poured hot water in because they were over reduced, and just like that just was like on her. And every time that happened, like my respect for her kind of just went down, and like how much I
has
wanted
she
to
been
listen
teaching
to
a
her.
long time?
Um, I think a decently long time. I think she's just gotten into a rhythm that was like this was how she did things.
Yeah. It's
Um,
really easy. I think it's really easy as a teacher to just get in a routine
yeah,
of just like,
definitely.
this is how, like, it's easy to just kinda put it on cruise control. I see teachers that do it. I know, there's a lot of really good teachers all over the country and all over the world, and I know there's a lot of, like, not so good teachers. And it's not
Yeah,
like they're not good teachers, but I think that sometimes teachers, they think there's like a new, like, first to 10 years of being a teacher where you're like, yeah, like, you're into it every year, you're, like, pumped and excited, and then
yeah,
after, like, I don't know, maybe after, like, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I can see where some teachers might just put it into cruise control and just be like, "These are my lessons. This is the way I do it." And not just for an art teacher, but any teacher, but definitely as an art teacher, there's so much more opportunities to keep evolving and
mhm,
changing, because I don't know, every high school is different, but the curriculum is generally, from what I understand, the curriculum is generally like big concepts,
mhm,
and you can kind of like specify the specific projects to like, we're doing pinch pots, we're doing slabs, we're introducing these ancient cultures, and we're talking about contemporary artists, and we're learning the elements and principles. And these are like the basic foundations of most high school ceramics teachers, or most high school ceramics art, or high school art programs for the most part, is like foundational ideas of making art and learning about elements and principles, learning about things. And I know I always try to change it up and mix it up, and I'm excited I have a student teacher this year who is my first student teacher who's, like, knows ceramics, who's, like,
ooh,
a ceramics person coming in. So to
nice,
me, that's really exciting. I've had 2 student teachers before, and they were awesome guys, and I'm still friends with both of them, but neither one of them were, like, super hardcore ceramics people. Like, one of them, my friend James Estrada Pottery, if he's out there, Mr. E Ceramics, I think, on Instagram. But yeah, he was like a drawing and painting guy, and
Mhm.
he did some student teaching and got a ceramics job, and he's like full in, like all in ceramics now. And he's just like, yeah, like this is he found ceramics kind of in college and was like, yeah, like this is awesome. And now he's super into it. And I had another guy who did it and he was now not even teaching. So they were both awesome, but I'm really excited this year because I have someone that's a ceramics person who's like, I'm like, teach me something because I want to learn. Like, I definitely want to learn. And I think doing these podcasts and interviews and just trying to be more a part of the larger ceramics community is kind of me trying to just learn more and reach out more and just broaden the kind of the
Yeah.
ceramics family, just bringing everybody in. Well, come on, like we gotta get a
One big
little
hug.
like we all we got. I mean, I swear, it's like we're such a bunch of weirdos like doing clay in
Mhm.
2019. There's a
Yeah.
small group of us, a few thousand people in the country that are like super hardcore ceramics.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, we just gotta reach out and connect and even
Yeah,
just be a bigger community. So
definitely.
I also saw I was kind of stalking your Instagram a little, and I saw that you won a Scholastic Art Award.
Yeah.
So what like that what was that all about?
So I had applied for the Scholastic Awards every year of high school. I think I started my freshman year and just applied with different pieces every year. Like
Who
that had made it
now who
throughout
asked
school.
you to do that? Was it
Hmm?
your teacher? Was it you or your
It
family
was
or your teachers,
my high
counselors?
it was my teacher at Kids and Clay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's had other students that had applied and like won regional things, and just like thought it might be something I'd be interested in. And like he's never like pushed me to like try to do that. It's just like, here, there's this thing you could try if you want to do it. And I
Yeah.
was like, sure.
Like, here's a paper. If you wanna read it, cool. If you wanna draw on it,
Yeah,
cool. Make a paper
exactly.
airplane.
Yeah, and I was like, sure, whatever, sounds good. And so I applied my freshman year of high school. So I was like, I don't know, 14 ish,
Yeah.
I think. Um, and I applied then and won a gold regional award. Um, so
That was
that
for writing?
it was for my ceramics.
Oh, for ceramics, okay.
Yeah, I've only applied ceramics.
Okay. I know the
Um,
award is like
yeah,
I guess the award is just called Art and Writing Award.
yeah, it's like
Yeah. I
they
think I
have
read
different
writing
sections.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. But
But you just went for the art.
yeah, it's
Got it,
just
got it, got it.
yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But I submitted two tiny bases that were both like this big because all I made when I first started throwing were tiny bases. So they're like still scattered all over my house. But I have like two little ones that I made that I'd like. They were both low fire, and like I'd put the wrong glaze on them, and then like smacked some raku glaze on top of it, and fired it in a low fire electric kiln, and the raku glaze did cool little dendrite things, and like just happened. Um, and then I won an award, and I was like, cool, woohoo! And then like didn't get anything. Like if you get the gold regional, they put you automatically into the nationals pools to like
Mhm.
be in that competition. And I didn't win anything for nationals for any year except my senior year, and that's when I applied with a crystalline piece that won a gold medal for nationals.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, so obviously I was super excited after having applied for a few years, and like regionals are awesome too. I was super excited with those, but as always, it's kind of a disappointment to be like, oh my god, I got gold regional. That means maybe this year, and then like finally getting it was really exciting. But they have a ceremony at Carnegie Hall where they have like famous celebrities, like artists, usually actors or comedians. They had like Amy Schumer one year. They had Ansel Elgort when I was there. Um, that like he would talk, and they had like the guy that created Arthur the Anteater, and like the Goosebumps author,
Oh, yeah.
some like big name like people talk and like say their stories and like be like, good job, you guys, you did the whole thing." And then um, my ceramic piece was shown at the Pratt Institute of Art in New York for like a week or two, I think, along with all the other pieces.
Is
Uh,
that can I find that piece online to show everybody?
I think it's on their
Is it
website
on your
somewhere, and you
okay,
can look under like
I'll
for
look for it. I'll look
yeah.
for it.
If not, I have a picture somewhere I can send you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, but
So
it was really cool.
they flew you out to
They We had to
New
pay for our
York?
own ticket to go out to New York, but it was still worth it. They, like, dealt with everything else. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's cool. That's a
Mhm.
cool experience.
Yeah, they sent me a medal and my teacher from Kids and Clay a medal for, like, "You're the instructor," and I got my, like, "You made the thing." It was
And then what did your high school teacher say anything or know about it, or
um, she vaguely knew I'd been applying every year. I think she never really did much about it, so and I
uh
didn't put her down as my, like, instructor teacher person, so I didn't wanna rub that in her face or anything. Uh,
yeah. Yeah, I could see, I'm trying to look at it from her perspective and, I guess if she like you said, like, she has her way that she does things, and you came in as somebody that maybe she felt intimidated or threatened, like, "Oh, you might know
yeah,
more than me, or you might know, like, a different way that might be better, but I'm not gonna try to,
yeah,
like, do it your way, because then it's like,
yeah.
who's this kid?" So, I don't know,
That
it's
I tried to, like, stay out of her way and try to just stay out of her way of, like, kinda just go with what she was doing and, like,
yeah,
she
just
was
play
as
along and hey,
but my
you got
yeah.
through and you did the AP portfolio, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Can I
Yeah,
ask what score you got?
I got a 5.
Oh, bam! 5
Yeah,
stars.
exactly.
That's fucking cool. Like, that's a
Yeah,
big deal.
I was
As an
pretty
AP
happy.
studio art teacher who's had, like, I think I've done AP studio art the last, like, 7 or 8 years, and I think I've had 1 5. But I
Yeah,
only have, like, 1 or 2 kids every year.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
I don't have, like, a class full of AP kids. I only have, like, 1 or 2, and to be
yeah,
perfectly honest, I kinda try to sometimes I try to, like, talk them out of it. I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know if you should do it." Like,
yeah,
I think I'm, like, good at teaching beginning students,
mhm,
and I think I'm good at kind of, like, showing my process, but honestly, I think I struggle with my AP kids a little to give them enough. I think I sometimes struggle with my advanced kids to push them enough to get them. I'm kinda 'cause I've always just been the kinda, like, "Give me the clay and get out of my way and let me
mhm,
work," 'cause I've always been motivated like that, so I kind of expect my advanced students to have that same, like, "You're here, you wanna be here, like,
yep,
oh, and if, like, you have ideas, like, let's work through your ideas." But sometimes my advanced students, I sometimes struggle to push them to push their ideas a little more, and that's something I'm trying to work on. So the
mhm,
good thing about being a high school ceramics teacher is every year it's the same. It's, like, the same curriculum, it's the same, like, routine as far as, like, "Oh, it's the first day of school, we're gonna do this." But I get different kids, and I have the opportunity to change it every year and do it better. So, this
mhm,
year with my student teacher is gonna take one of my advanced classes because I have 2 advanced classes. So she's taking one of them. So it's kinda cool for me to kinda give up an advanced class and kind of see her and kinda work with her with my advanced kids, and I'm kind of excited for that. So
right. Yeah,
kinda why I was
well,
asking you, like, what was your like, how can you help the teachers? Because I'm totally trying to learn and get better and, you
mhm,
know, it's a never ending journey. So,
yeah, I
you said
mean
you went to in you oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I mean, I think with just, like, teachers in general, so my, boss slash teacher at Kids and Clay, his name is Matt. He has pretty much never said no to any idea I've ever had, which, like, is partially a privilege of having, like, his own studio and, like, being able to literally do whatever he wants.
Mm,
But it's also just, like, he has such a deep knowledge of ceramics that, like, my high school teacher, when, like, she couldn't fix a wheel, she couldn't fix a kiln, she'd have to call someone for every single thing, and has literally had me, like, hold a blowtorch on an element that snapped while he twists it together with 2 pairs of pliers so we can fire it for a show I have the next day.
that's
And,
awesome.
like, yeah, so,
What's
like,
Matt's last name?
Duke,
Duke?
Duke. Mhm,
Matt Duke?
mhm. Yeah,
Awesome.
he's a great guy. Yeah. So, like, that level of, like, just, like, random things, it's like I have, like, my one holiday sale a year happening tomorrow, and he's like, "Okay, we're gonna fire this thing, it's gonna happen." Uh,
Yeah.
and, like, there's a raku camp that happens, like, there's, like, 4 weeks of raku camp for, like, 7 to 15-year-olds. Um, and, like, the instructors do the pulls, but it's, like, high school students mostly that are instructors, like, high school and college. And so we're, like, reaching
Mhm.
into that 1800-degree oven, they're, like, killing and, like, taking things out and, like, going
Yeah.
with it. And it's, like, a great place to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome that you have that kinda long long-term relationship,
Yeah.
you know? Because I mean, I've learned as a teacher, like, I have students who graduated who I'm still kind of friends with. It's like,
Mhm.
you graduate they graduate as students, and then they become your friends,
Right.
which is, like, weird, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's like, once you're an adult, you're an adult. Whether you're, once you're kinda, like, at 17, 18, 19, like,
Yeah.
whatever, like, grown up, like, you have
Mhm.
responsibilities, like, you can get in trouble, like, you can go to jail. Maybe you can drink a beer or not, whatever, like, you drink a beer anyway if you're not 18, if you're not 21, but,
Mhm.
don't drink and drive, but, I mean, once you're an adult, like, you're out of kinda high school, like, you're an adult, and it's cool to have those relationships. I have,
Yeah.
like, my ceramics teacher from college, his name's Vince Suez, he's, like, 80, 81,
Mhm.
and he's like, I'll talk to him and chat with him, and it's like, we're friends. It's like we're like friends now. It's not like, "Oh, you're still my teacher." It's like
Yeah.
he's still that teacherly way in some ways, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of just like, "Yeah, what's up, dude? How's it going?" Like,
Yeah.
so it's cool you have that kind of a relationship. So the reason I asked you to be on the podcast because you posted about a trip that you had taken recently
Mhm.
overseas, right?
Yeah.
And you went to Vietnam, is that right?
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, so I thought I saw you kinda out there on the streets, or I don't know where exactly it was, but it was like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
some cool ceramic stuff. So I thought maybe if you wanted to share a little bit about what you saw and kinda your experience
Mhm.
seeing ceramics in a different part of the world, and thought
Yeah.
that'd be really cool.
Yeah. So anytime that I'm a part of planning a family trip, I'll usually see if there's any ceramics in the area. So there's another in Bali, there's Gaia Ceramics. It's like they're big on Instagram. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I was able to go I emailed them or DM'd them or something and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Bali. Can I see your studio?" And they're like, "Sure, come by." And they gave me a whole tour of the studio. And so anytime I'm in another country, I try to see if I can do something like that. So I'm sure I'm gonna butcher the name, but it's called Bat Trang. It's a village in Vietnam that's kind of it's in northern Vietnam near Hanoi. Um, and so it's a lot of Hanoi. From what I can tell, most of Vietnam is kind of split up with villages that specialize in certain things. I think stem from a single family doing something and then getting bigger and just so the whole village does embroidery or silk work or
Mm,
ceramics. And so we went and visited Bot Trang for a few hours, and they showed us kind of the regular touristy, this is the big kiln we used to use that's not in use anymore now, has fog machines and LED lights to light it up and look cool. And we were like,
yeah.
cool, okay. And then here's the gift shop where you can look at things. And then there were little wheels that were hand turned that were I'm sure were used a while ago, but aren't really used by people anymore. Because
Mhm.
now they have them kind of attached on a big rubber band thing that's on a motor that spins them. So it's like an electric wheel.
It's like those old Chimpa wheels are like that.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah, it's like a big it's like a
the whole
belt.
band. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what the ones that they're actually using are like. But they had the little hand turn wheels, and so there's a woman there who didn't speak English, but we had some guides with us that were university students that do free guides to help them learn English better.
Mhm.
And so they were there and translating for us. And I made a couple things on their little wheels and was having fun with it. And she
Everybody's watching it right now on the YouTube.
watching
I'll show
the.
it on the YouTube
Oh,
vid
okay,
I'll
awesome.
I'll I'll show all the videos you took
Okay,
on the spot.
perfect.
So,
Yeah. Okay. So then I was making my things, and the woman was leaning over and was doing thumbs up, and I was talking to our tour guides, and they were telling me that she was impressed and that she wanted to see if we wanted to go see her family's studio where they were mass producing things. And I was like, hell yes, of course I do.
oh, yeah.
And so um, we ended up going right after that to a studio that was um I mean it's the thing where IKEA gets their handmade ceramics and things
Oh, yeah.
that's where
Mass
they're all
produced.
made. Yeah, so it's they are real people making them. It was cool and also sad that for so many people in the US are taking advantage of people in other countries and paying them less to get silicosis because it was incredibly dusty. Like I don't want to think about it. But
Oh, wow. No one had a dust mask?
no, no one had dust masks. They were standing
They didn't have, like, little
bone
bandanas
dry.
over there? They didn't like little bandits and stuff, like little train robbers?
They didn't have anything. They were just like working on it. But there was yeah, which was like
That's fucking depressing.
right. Yeah, that part was really depressing.
I'm not admittedly not the most like, I try to do as best I can. I have a my when I'm mixing glazes, I wear a mask and I,
Yeah,
try to wipe things down as best I can, but, there's times where I'm just like, "Oh, I gotta make some kiln wash real quick." I'm just like, big old
yep,
cloud of dust. I don't have time to fucking get my mask. Like, I just need a little bit of kiln wash and
exactly.
like, "Oh," and you can, like, taste it. You're like, "Oh, got a hit.
Yep.
I did inhale. Oh, I'm gonna die." Oh, I can smell the I can smell the
Yeah,
silica, like, coming in my lungs, and it's awful.
yeah.
But,
No,
I
it was
mean,
yeah. That part was depressing.
I can't imagine those people working, like, every day, probably
Mhm. Exactly, yeah. That part,
years and years and years and
yeah.
years and
There
ugh.
was a guy that was trimming, like hand trimming slip cast like tumblers, and he had like a little like chuck to put them on, and was trimming the tops, the bottoms, and adding two lines on every single cup, and it was probably 15 seconds per cup, like 15 or 30 seconds. And
Post that
the art,
one?
I posted a video of it, but he was
Yeah.
like, it was on one of the belt wheels.
Okay.
Um, he was just like trimming really fast. But he, our tour guide's translated for us. He said he'd been doing it for 3 years, and he didn't look older than like 45.
Yeah.
So, but he was so good. But
Yeah, child labor laws don't exist in every country.
yeah,
And
no,
sometimes
definitely.
it's
And
like
it's his
family,
family.
so it's like maybe they go to school, but they still work in the family business.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
like
I'm not.
6.
Yeah, I don't know exactly like how old he was or when he started, but he didn't look very old and was
Yeah.
clearly very experienced with it. Um, and they're like
Shit, if
people.
you're 36, you can say, "Ah, I've been working in ceramics for 30 years," and you'll be
Oh, that's
36.
weird.
That'll be
That's
you.
weird. Ah.
That's cool, that's cool. Like, that's cool to be like, I'm in I touched clay and it touched
Yeah.
my heart."
Yeah, I mean, technically, it just feels weird. I feel like I'm not, like, accomplished enough to be able to
Well,
say I've been doing
I
ceramics for,
mean,
like, 12
but
years.
really, to be honest, those first 10 years when you're, like, 6 to 16 don't really they count, but they don't count. Like,
Yeah. No,
that's
that's
like you're a child. That's when you're literally a child. Like, you're a
mhm.
child learning how to
Yeah.
be an adolescent, and you're doing something productive, and your brain's getting wired and programmed to think three-dimensionally like an artist and to learn about stuff. But, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm probably, like, for you, I'm probably, like, 10, 11, 12. That's probably when you started making some really cool stuff, and then probably,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Exactly.
by the time you're, like, 14, 15, you're like, "Yeah, like, you could go into a beginning college class and, like, hang with
Yeah.
like, do pinch pots
I
and
mean
coil pots and slabs, like, boom, let's do it."
yeah, I mean, I had my first, like, show, like I mean, not show, but, like, vending booth thing with ceramics when I was 16. So
Yeah.
and I had a like I technically couldn't have a business license because you have to be 18 to have a business license. So in my mom's name, Octopus Ceramics is a business as of when I was like 16 or 17. Um,
Cool.
so I need to figure out if I can transfer that to my name now that I'm 18. But
Like, co-sign on it or something, so it's under both your
yeah,
names.
exactly.
There's
Because
probably
she,
a even if it's
yeah,
both your names, as long as you have some ownership over it.
exactly. Yeah, no, that would be nice. I need to figure that out. But
So, do you do a lot of selling?
not as much as I should. I sell at this one like fire art studio thing that's in Oakland, like town next to Berkeley. That's called the Crucible. They have a holiday sale every year. And I've been taking classes there since I was really young too. Like, well, not quite as young because
Oh,
there's like age limits, but they have like glass blowing, flame working, welding, like every kind of welding ever. They're a really cool place.
have you
Um,
ever done glass blowing?
I've taken a couple glass blowing classes. I took camps there, so you would do like 1 or 2 classes for the week. And so
Yeah.
one of the years I did MIG welding and glass blowing at the same time,
So cool.
and made this fish that was probably this big, and MIG welded a frame, and then they helped me blow a giant bubble of glass into it and then pull
Oh,
out.
that's so rad.
It looks really good. I still have it in my room. It looks really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
That's
like
awesome.
so
That's
basically
awesome experiences.
yeah, I've just been around art my whole life and will not ever escape that.
That's awesome.
Not that I
Yeah,
want
your
to.
parents did a good job. That's awesome your parents exposed you and gave you some
Yeah.
freedom and gave you some opportunities to kind of
Mhm.
find something you liked and encouraged you enough to kinda keep doing it, and
Yeah.
it's, like, so cool to see, like, where you're gonna go, like, what's the
Mhm.
like, where you gonna like, you're what are you, 19, 20,
18.
18? You're a child. You're a
Yeah.
baby. You're
I
a
turned
baby.
19 in October. I'm getting there.
You're a baby.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool though. I mean, that's awesome. So I guess, are you on the so being a double major, are you on the 4-year 3 more years of college and you'll graduate, or do you have an extra
Mhm.
year, or
That's the plan is 3 more years. I haven't officially declared anything because at my school we don't declare until the end of sophomore year,
that's
and even
smart?
then, you only do 1 major, and then, like, junior year, you can declare another one.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably declare biology first, and then assuming I'm still, like, on track to getting a double major, then I'll declare studio art. So it's still, like, a high priority, but it's like I it's just easier to get into the science world with the
Yeah, yeah.
degree than like
It's such
yeah,
a game. School is such a game.
it really is.
I'm
It's so
sure you're
much fun.
figuring it out, but school is a
Yeah.
game. I mean,
Mhm.
when you think about it, like, I tell my students this, I'm like, School's a game." And everybody tries to cheat as much as they can, like, that's the reality is, like,
Mhm.
people try to cheat, but,
Yep.
I mean, like, think about it, it's a game, like, as a teacher, I have, like, a grade book, and I'm
Mhm.
entering numbers, which are, like, points, and you
Yeah.
have so many points
Mhm.
equals certain grade, like a game,
Like
like, we're playing a
that.
video game, like, we're playing Super Mario Brothers, and it's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, who's got the high score?" And it's like, I got an 88.9%, I got a B plus, and yeah, school's a game, and I'm kind of, like, stuck. I sometimes am amazed that I'm stuck being a teacher because when I was in high school, I was not academic. I, like, did okay. I didn't fail. I think I failed, like, 1 class when I was a freshman, math, because I was just a dumb freshman boy, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I made it up. But I generally got, like, okay grades, but I wasn't really super academic, but I liked the art classes. I started in high school too, like,
Yeah.
I started doing ceramics when I was a freshman in high school. My mom was like summer before my freshman year, she's like, "You gotta go to summer school, like, you can't just sit around the house and play Super Nintendo and, like, dick around with your friends, like, go to summer school, take a fun class." My neighbor was like, "Hey," my neighbor was a year older, so he was a freshman going into sophomore year, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take, ceramics. I heard it's really fun." I'm like, "Okay, like, cool." And I took the class, and like, sucked so bad at it, but it was mainly, like, a wheel throwing class, like, we didn't do a lot of hand building. And I remember, like, on the first day, I saw this guy on the wheel. It was all kick wheels, like Lockerbie kick wheels, and I saw this guy on, like, the electric kick wheel that has a little motor, and he was just throwing this, like, maybe a 10-pound vase or something, and at the time, I was like the most amazing thing I'd ever seen in my life, and I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna take this class? Like, I'm gonna do this?" Like, and then I took it that first summer, and I was, like, so bad. Like, I wish I had those pieces that my first semester. My mom might have them somewhere, but
Mhm.
it was so bad, but I liked it, and I kept doing it, and I just kept doing it, and by the time I was a senior, I had taken, like, I think, like, 11 semesters worth of ceramics and
Oh,
8
wow.
semesters total, like, possible. I think I had 11 semesters of ceramics because I took it, like, in summer school, and I took it, like I always had ceramics, like, I was a ceramics
Mhm.
nerd, and,
Yeah.
it's funny you say your kind of relationship with your high school ceramics teacher was weird, because to be honest, like, my high school ceramics experience was, like, there was a teacher, it was a dude, and then there was a she was kind of like the lab tech, but she taught
Mhm.
the summer school class, so my first ceramics class that I had was with her.
Mhm.
So, her name was Pat Fittis, and I don't know what's happened to her. She was pretty old when I was there, and she was really kinda rough around the corners and really kinda she called everybody a creep, but anybody that went to Claremont High School from like the 70s to like the 90s knew her and will tell you like she's like the most funniest, awesome person. But she was like my teacher and she was cool. But then he was the actual teacher. Like he was the actual like ceramics teacher on the thing. She was the like lab tech helper, like classified staff person. And he ended up kind of being like, yeah, like he didn't like me that much because I didn't feel like he liked me enough much because I would always go to her for help. And I was like
Mhm.
really into it. And I remember one time I made something. It was freaking awesome. It was like this beehive looking. We made these things. We called them samovars. It was like you'd put like a it'd be like a big container and you'd put like a little tap into it, kind of like a little keg. And I remember I made one and it was a big beehive and I was like so stoked. And he saw me do it and was like, "That's really cool. I'm gonna make one." I'm like, "Cool." So he copied
Cool.
what I did. I copied someone else, but I copied it out of Ceramics Monthly. He copied me, and then he put our pieces in the kiln the same time, and his piece was fucking wet, and he blew up his piece, and it fucked up my piece. And I was like, "You're the fucking
Oh,
teacher. Fuck
no.
you. Like you're the fucking teacher.
No.
Like fuck. What the fuck? Like
That's the
like
worst.
because he yeah. So
Mm.
it's okay though. But then like after I graduated high school, I went back and he was totally cool and it was like he would teach like a night class and it's all good, you know. But I remember at the time I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
fuck, asshole. Sorry.
It just doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
Sorry. Sorry, tangent. I sometimes I go on
Oh,
tangent.
I totally get that. Being in any like group studio, like every studio I'm in other than my own, and I fire in at kids in clay, so everything I fire isn't witnessed. It's like okay, here's my bone dry stuff. Please don't
Yeah.
put it next to like this 5-year-old solid block of clay that has been like wet for the last 3 days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, as a high school teacher, I have to load and unload a lot of work and there's some stuff where I'm just like I look at some of my students' work as high school students and I'm like, I'm the worst teacher in the world. I'm like, like this is on my watch and these kids did this stuff. Like, oh, and then I load stuff, I'm like, damn, these kids are freaking awesome. I know what the hell I'm doing. And then there's some kids I'm just like
Mhm.
my favorite, I'm probably if you're loading kilns and unloading kilns, I'm sure this has happened to you where you're like loading a kiln and you're in the rhythm, you're playing 3D Tetris, and you like literally just like
Mhm.
pick the piece up with those most gentlest hands we learn as loaders and unloaders, especially of greenware. We learn to load with those gentle hands and pick it up, and you literally touch it and it just falls apart in your hands, and you're just like,
Yep.
"Fuck," and then you gotta tell the
Yeah.
person like, "Hey, your thing fell apart," and they're like, "Why did you break my thing?" And I'm like, "Asshole, I just touched it and it fell apart." "Well, you broke my thing, Mr. Reich." I'm like, "Do I get a grade on that?" I'm like, "No, like, fuck you, do it again." I'm like, "It's fuck you," but
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, "Fuck you, do it again." But I'm like, "No, sorry, like, that was poor craftsmanship, like, do it again."
Mhm. Yeah. No,
So
it's so hard with little kids because it's like, how do I tell a 5-year-old that like, or like, really, it's like the 7-year-olds because the 5-year-olds don't remember that they made anything, but like,
and they make a
they
bunch of crap.
like exactly. So they don't really care. But like the 7 to 10-year-olds, like they're still kind of making crap, but like it's crap they care about. And
Yeah.
so like if like they made a solid block of clay and it explodes in the kiln because like it was just too heavy, too wet, whatever, then like or like something they make they didn't like score and slip it on, and so it falls off. Even though we told them a million times like score and slip your things together, and like they didn't listen, then they're like, oh my god, my piece broke, and you broke it, and it's
Yeah,
gone forever, and like
and they're such little victims, and it's like
yeah, no, we told you how many times to score and slip your things, and you just like put the slip in front of you and didn't touch it. Like that's not how
yeah.
this works. Ugh.
Yeah, so for a few years, at Cal State Fullerton, like, I went there, I got my undergrad there, I got my grad there, and they had, like, a summer art camp thing for, like,
Mhm.
little kids, like, 5 to, like, 14. It was really, like, kindergarten to junior high, and I think it was, like,
Mhm.
4 or 5 summers, I was, like, the ceramics teacher, and, um, yeah, it was, like, 80 kids,
Oh
and
my god.
I had them, like, for 2 weeks, and it was like it was 80 kids, but they had, like, 4 different art
Insane.
classes, so they would, like, it was, like, maybe not 80, maybe it was, like, 60 to 80, so I
That's
had, like, 10 to 20 in a class,
mhm.
and they would, like, rotate between my class and like 4 other art classes. There was like a drawing and painting class and like a drama class and the ceramics class, and they would
Right.
rotate through there, and I would deal with the little 5 and 6-year-olds and 12-year-olds and the junior high kids,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
worst thing I ever did was we did a one year we did ocarinas, like whistles, and
Mhm.
I ended up having to like, like a 5-year-old trying to make an ocarina, like they're gonna sit there with the popsicle sticks, and I don't know if you ever made
Yep.
one of those, but you're
Literally
like,
every yeah.
oh,
My Matt loves ocarinas, and so, like, tomorrow, actually, at work, every single kid's gonna make an ocarina.
it's torture. It's torture for you and Matt. Well, I mean,
Um,
maybe he
no,
teaches it better than
no,
I did it, 'cause the
no,
way I
like,
taught it, it sucked
yeah,
'cause I was
no,
in it. I ended up having to do it for most of 'em.
he does, like, the part that makes noise, like, they get it
Yeah.
close, and then he'll do the last of it, like, he'll make the shapes, and then
Yeah.
if they really don't work, like, after all the kids leave, he'll, like, cut them open and make sure that they're smooth on the inside and do all that, but, like, I can't make an ocarina that works. I can't, but, like, Matt can make
Yeah.
anything into an ocarina, it's ridiculous.
That's
Oh,
cool. Yeah, I remember when I did that, I remember I spent, like I had someone help me, but I had to stay, like, 2 or 3 extra hours
yep.
to, like, get all the kids' things to work. I remember
Yeah,
doing it at lunch, and I was like, "I'm never doing this again."
and then they glaze over the holes and, like
Yeah, it sucked. And then
like,
it looked like then the parents are like, "Is this a pipe? Why are you my kid making a pipe? Like, these are little kids." Like, "Fuck you, we're not making pipes." Like,
yeah, no,
that's
not
that's
quite.
so I guess I'm sure you can probably answer this question, well. It's kind of a question I've asked everybody. Do you have any, like, all-time great ceramics disasters that you kinda can reflect on as a you know? 'Cause we like to say clay is a four-letter word, like,
Mhm.
clay happens, it's a
Yeah.
very lot of opportunities to screw up. So do you have any all-time great screw ups?
Um,
Or any even if it's not your work, if it's like,
sure
those
I
those darn kids?
do. I mean, I've had my things smashed more times than I can count, just from like I don't know, just like having someone else's work exploding or like
Oh,
a shelf
yeah.
falls over. Like there's this
Yeah.
like big blobby organic thing that I posted like 3 days ago
Uh-huh.
on Instagram that turned out really nicely, but a shelf like I think a post maybe like the shelf collapsed and then the shelf complete the post fell over and it was fired anyway because it looked like it was okay and it turned out it had like a bunch of hairline cracks and then like I glazed it anyway because it was a present from my dad, and I was just like, he doesn't care if there's some cracks in it, whatever. So I glazed it, and then it like kind of like warped and drooped in one place, and then that made like a chunk fall out and like hit the side, and I like dremeled it down afterwards for probably like 20 minutes, like just to get that thing off, and it was awful. It looks good now, and my dad just put air plants in it, so like it covers.
Okay, yeah.
It's okay. And it was only in the back, so he like turned it around.
Yeah.
But I was just like, okay, now that that's over. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I mostly have the normal stuff of like
Yeah.
just failures of things because I'm not firing my own work mostly, and that's like really where things go wrong. Um,
You don't have a kiln at you said you have a wheel?
I have a wheel here
Do
at
you have
my
a
house.
kiln?
I have a kiln at Kids and Clay that is a really is the jankiest Franken kiln you've ever
That's
seen.
your kiln?
It is my kiln. It was a kiln body that was donated by one of my good friends a really long time ago. And then I decided I wanted to do crystalline glaze when I was in high school. And so Matt was like, okay, we're going to do that. And he let me take that kiln that really wasn't being in use anyway. It was a manual kiln. It was kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. And I bought, or like as a, I don't know, my parents helped me buy a controller for
Oh, okay.
to attach to it.
Mhm.
And so Matt like helped me completely redo the wiring and the elements and attach a controller onto it. And so now it like works most of the time, but I think he's since I like obviously since it's there, like he uses it whenever I'm not there and not using it, which like is a great setup. But he wants it to work better for himself too, so he's currently planning on completely taking it apart and putting new kiln bricks in and new elements and like rebuilding it like a foot taller and
Well,
like
why not just buy a new kiln?
basically yeah it's a
Well, whatever.
I mean he
Because some
has his
people
own
like to do that,
registry.
and that's good to not throw stuff away. So that
Yeah,
I can respect that.
and the new kiln is like so expensive. Like he already has the bricks and like most of the things are there. So he's
Oh,
just
if he has everything, then that's cool. I thought I was gonna say if you
yeah.
have to buy all that stuff. That's
No,
doesn't
he
seem
has bricks
like
lying
cheap.
around the studio. He'll like
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah, and if he knows what he's doing, that's cool.
yeah, no, he was like he also has a very like out of it like weird life story. So but he
Cool.
like was like maintenance man for everything. So he like takes everything apart and puts it back together all the time.
Cool.
But
And
yeah.
maybe I have to have Matt on this podcast.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Yeah, sounds cool.
Pretty great. Yeah.
Do you have any great injuries? Never get sliced by the metal rib of death?
Definitely the rib. I a couple of weeks ago almost got stabbed by a wooden tool because there was a kid who's probably 6 or 7 year old boy who was on a wheel and put a wooden tool down on the wheel head and turned it on full speed, and it like rotated around and shot through the side of the like it's like a Brent wheel. It shot through the side and like split in half at the same time, and was like as soon as I like saw him turn on the wheel, I was like, ah, like ran over and like slammed off the wheel and like grabbed all the things. So that was fun. I burned myself with a raku tongs
Oh,
last
yeah.
week.
Yeah, raku's no joke. Like, raku's
Yeah,
hot.
no,
And
yeah.
glass blowing. Did you ever get any
Mm-hmm.
good glass blowing burns?
Flame working, I have.
Oh,
I had a clear piece that I was making, and then it fell out of the pliers I was holding, and I automatically went and grabbed it, like right when it was
I
out of the
forgot
flame.
it was like 1,500
Yeah,
degrees or whatever.
exactly. So like all my fingertips were just burned. It was
Yeah.
that one wasn't fun. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
definitely like
actually,
done all those
the
things.
the interview before this one, the conversation I had before this one is somebody that's actually kind of more of a glass person that's kind of like more of like a art like a gallery owner. He's kind of more of a glass guy. So my last conversation was a little more glass centric. So it's
Yeah.
cool that you have a little bit of a glass background too.
Hmm.
What do you think? Like, I guess I was gonna ask you this, and I kind of didn't follow through on it. But so after you graduate, like, what do you think you want to do after you graduate college?
Um,
Like, do you want to like because you're kind of going in two different directions that I'm sure there's a way to put it together, but are you gonna
yeah.
just kind of like see what happens or
I think mostly to see what happens. I mean, it's been I think with what I want to do, like just in life, like I've always been really interested in animals to begin with. Like that's always been something that I've been really interested in, like pursuing as a job anyway. Um, and not that like conservation work pays much better than doing like art stuff, but I just can't see myself like turning something I do for relaxation and it's a hobby into something that like is constantly worrying about like can I make something customer wants and like worrying
yeah,
about those things. Like just adding in that part doesn't appeal to me. Like I really like doing it as a
that's good
hobby
that
on
you
the side.
recognize that.
Yeah, I mean I've tried doing commissions. I hate commissions.
I
They're
hate
awful.
commissions too.
They're horrible. I don't like them. I don't want to do them. And like, not that you have to do commissions to like be a successful artist, but like that ends up being a part of it sometimes. And like,
Yeah,
you have to like recognize what your consumer wants and make those things, even if it's not a specific like commissioned. Like, this is the mug I'm making. It's like they like this variety of work, and we'll buy this thing if you want to do like a full time artist job.
yeah,
It's like I like where I'm at now with like kind of doing it like after work and like doing
yeah,
my thing, and if something sells then great, doing like 1 or 2 sales a year, try to get things out of my house, like make some of the money back, like that. It has been great, and if that changes in the future and I decide I do want to pursue like artist like full-time career, I think I could do that feasibly. Like it'd be really hard. I think it's hard for anyone, but like I don't think that's an impossible thing for me. It's just right now I'm thinking more on like animal field work and then this more on the side since I have a studio set up already.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing
So
wrong with having two kind of careers, kind of your hustle and your side hustle. I mean, that's what I'm doing.
exactly.
My main hustle is teaching, being a high school ceramics teacher, and then
Hmm.
all this pottery I make and the time I spend in my garage at night is just is my time. Have you ever thought about going into teaching, like being a high school ceramics teacher yourself?
I've thought about it. I think I don't know. I like teaching littler kids, but I don't know if I could handle it for like a year-round job. Like it's fun coming back and doing it like for a few weeks of the summer, like winter break or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could do like older kids. And I need to get better at like getting more attention from like commanding more attention from older kids, like teenagers. But I'm just
Well, you're
not.
still a teenager, so
There is, yeah, I look really young for my age too, so, like, people, like, that are much younger than me will think I'm, like, a year older than them, and
yeah.
I'm just, like, telling them what to do right now, and that's been frustrating, but I'm sure, like, obviously when I'm older, I will look older too, but, like, I don't
Yeah,
know,
and you just
like
yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot of variables, but I don't know, it
yeah,
seems like that's something that maybe I mean, I don't know. I think if you wanna teach or not. I think it's something that's
mhm,
teachers kinda know, but, I'll tell you what, teaching high school, the best part about teaching high school is that, you get so much time off. Like,
yeah,
honestly, like, it's
mhm,
sometimes I feel like I'm getting away with something because it's like, wow, I have, 9 weeks off in the summer,
that's crazy.
like 2 weeks in the summer or 2 weeks in the winter, a week in spring, couple all the 3-day weekends. I'm like, "Oh, like, this doesn't suck." Like, I'm very fortunate. I feel so feel like, I don't know how the hell I got here. Like, I don't know what the hell I did to get so lucky. Cause
Mhm,
yeah, things are working out, but
mhm.
cool. I guess, yeah, we're about an hour and a little over an hour in. So do you have any, I guess we kinda wrap it up. Do you have any, people wanna get a hold of you? Do you have any plugs or, anything you wanna
I don't
nothing
know.
special?
I just making clay things, I don't
At
know.
at Octopus Ceramics on Instagram,
Yeah, that
and then you have,
yeah.
octopusceramics.com. Is that
I
right?
do. Yes. Website, Instagram, all those things. Yeah. I have to
Cool.
update my website some more, but
I think we all have to update our websites.
yeah, all
I've
the
been
time.
saying that for the last, like, year. I'm like, "I need to get back on there and
Yeah, me too.
put
It's
it on
not
the list." I got other fish to fry, so
good. You gotta make
cool.
them work.
Yeah, well, cool. Well, thanks for, hanging out on Clay is a four-letter word. I'm gonna hit stop, and I'll talk to you on the other side of this button. So, thanks, Maia Danks at Octopus Ceramics for hanging out,
Yeah.
and stop. Hey, thanks for listening to my conversation with Maia Danks. It was really fun for me to kind of talk to a younger person, somebody who's just out of high school, being a high school teacher, kind of getting their perspective on kind of, you know, their experiences as a young ceramic artist. And Maya has a really cool story. She's been doing it for a long time. So she's not just some young person that just, started doing it. She's got some, 12 years under her belt already. So that's pretty impressive. Um, Anyways, I really had a good time talking with Maya. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on whatever podcast thing you're listening to it on, subscribe and like it and comment. That would be really cool. I appreciate all the all the listeners I'm getting, and it's growing every day. And some people are watching the YouTube. So if you're watching the YouTube, I didn't put as much stuff in this episode just because the views are pretty low. So I did put some stuff in there though. So if you do watch it, hopefully it is a little bit entertaining, especially when she was in Vietnam and talking about those things. Let's see. I still have the t-shirts, or I'm working on those. Those will probably be out in the next few days. Depends on when you're listening to this, but as soon as I have it ready, there will be a link, or there will be some posts about it on my Instagram at Ryan Reich Ceramics, and on the at Clay's a four-letter word Instagram. I'll post about it up there. But I'll be having some t-shirts for sale. The original Clay's a four-letter word logo, and then another kind of logo, or another t-shirt. What else? Stickers. If you DM me, I still have more stickers. So DM me at Ryan Reich Ceramics, or no, at Clay's a four-letter word. DM me on either one of those, and I will send you some stickers. Thanks for Maia Danks for being my guest today on Clay's a four-letter word. That's about all I got. So, peace. Take care.